Welcome to LSU Listens, which is part of the LSU Campaign Community Celebration. Today is March 29th, 2019, and I'm Erin Mann, representing the T. Harry Williams Center for Oral History with LSU Libraries. Our audio engineer is Megan Bourgeois. I'm here today with Mr. Phillips. Thank you for being interviewed. This is going to be a short interview, only 15 to 20 minutes, and we'll likely be in touch later to set up a longer interview if you're interested. So can you please state your full name?
Cecil Randolph Phillips.
Great. When and where were you born?
I was born in Birmingham, Alabama in 1933, July the 30th.
Okay. What are your parents' names?
My mother's name is Alberta Phillips. My father was also Cecil Phillips, Sr.
Family name. So you grew up in Birmingham where you were born? Okay. When did you decide to come to Louisiana, or did you come with your family?
I had a career in engineering and then in fundraising and development up until 1992. I was at Georgia Tech, and they recruited me to come to LSU to head up a new development program.
So that's the reason you chose to come to LSU, was to head that up.
Right.
What did you hope going to college would do for you when you first started out? When you first started going to college?
Well, that was it. I went to Georgia Tech. I wanted to be an engineer. I wanted to fly rockets to the moon. Didn't really do that, but that was my ambition as a freshman engineer.
To get up in space, right?
Right.
So, can you describe your first day at LSU, when you first came here?
It was actually a night time. I drove into the campus one night because I had an interview for the job the next day. And I drove in, and the oaks were being illuminated by various lights around the oak trees, and the architecture I could see in a night light. And to me, it was very, very impressive. The trees and the arches and all the campus landscaping and architecture. I still remember that night driving into the campus and being moved by how good it looked.
And that was in 1992, correct?
Yes.
Okay. So, where did you live when you moved to Baton Rouge?
Well, we bought a house in the River Bend subdivision, and we still live there.
Okay, stayed there. How did you find a place to live? Did you have to do a lot of searching, or was there a lot of availability?
Well, there was a real estate agent that helped people, newcomers to LSU. A lady, I've forgotten her name now, but she was a good agent for LSU people. And so she showed us around, made it pretty easy.
So what was your probably most memorable, first experience here at LSU, besides driving into our beautiful campus?
What do you mean, experience in the job, or
Yes,
what?
sir.
I don't know. I have to think about that. I would say meeting the board of directors. Meeting the board of directors and the committee that was recruiting for this position. They were very impressive business people and faculty members. And the dean of the business college and the dean of the engineering college and one of the vice chancellors. These were very impressive people. And I was quite taken with how seriously they wanted a new development program. So it got me excited about coming here.
So did you have any interactions with T. Harry Williams during your time? No. Did you ever hear any stories about him?
Oh yes, many stories about T. Harry.
Okay. What about your social life when you came to Louisiana? Did it change a lot? Did you have to, make a lot of new friends and families? Or?
Yes, but my wife and I have an advantage in that. Our hobby is ballroom dancing.
Oh,
and so we found the places in Baton Rouge where people do ballroom dancing. So we blended in very quickly with those people. we've been enjoying that community ever since.
So you were a child during the World War II, is that what I
Yes.
read? Do you remember anything about that growing up?
I do remember a lot. I remember when Pearl Harbor was attacked, and my father, I said, "What does that mean?" And he says, "That means we're at war. We're at war with Japan." And that, I remember that we had an old Philco radio with mahogany casing, and we heard that announcement over the radio. I remember that vividly. I also remember that the newspaper always had war stories on the front page. And I remember my mother told me, I didn't remember this, but my mother told me that I asked her one time, remember I would be about 10 or 11 years old, trying to read the newspaper. And I asked her, what do the newspapers write about if there's no war? Because that's all I saw.
Right. That was overtaking everything at that time.
My first impression of anything that I could read was all about the war.
What a way to grow up, right?
Yeah.
You know, that's what you're surrounded. And where were you living during that time? Still in Alabama?
In Birmingham.
So was your father involved with the war in any way?
Yes. He had a very interesting job. He wore an Army uniform, and as an officer, they gave him a uniform with the major's insignia. But he was paid not by the Army, but he was paid by the Coca-Cola Company.
Oh.
And his job was to build Coca-Cola plants to serve the Army with Coca-Cola.
Keep them hydrated.
He built 2 plants in France during the occupation of France and during the war, and that was his job.
So I imagine he got to see a lot of different sites during that time and visit.
He did.
Yeah,
yes,
but not you.
All around France. Yeah, I didn't.
You stayed at home, right?
Right.
So what about some of the big, like debates or big things that happened while you were at LSU? Was there any big events that you remember? Or?
Well, the biggest thing that I remember was that I was hired in order to start the first LSU campaign. And we did. We started it, we planned for it, built up a staff for it, and conducted the first campaign. And the goal was $175 million, which for that time was big.
A lot.
A big number. And we actually achieved $255 million.
Wow. Surpassed it big time.
Right. So that was our main achievement. I think my main achievement while here.
Yeah. Is it similar to things like this, or has it changed a
Nowhere
lot?
near nothing like this at all.
Are you still pretty involved, or do you kind of, just watch from the back? Yeah.
No. I'm involved in events like this, which is
Right.
fun.
Yeah, you get to come eat some good food and talk with us. Okay, so kind of in closing, what would you say is one of the best things you've taken from LSU? Something that maybe you wouldn't have found at Georgia Tech or in Alabama?
Right. Well, the culture here, and especially the French culture, is something I hadn't experienced before. And to find that the Cajun culture is a kind of beloved minority here. Really enjoyed getting to know that, and especially the food. Far better than Birmingham.
We won't tell them you said that. All right, so we just want to thank you so much for dedicating your time today. And on behalf of the T. Harry Williams Center, is there anything you'd like to add in closing?
No, thank you. I enjoyed it. As I told Jennifer, the interview that I did, I did a couple of them, but one of them was with Mr. Gordon Kane.
Okay.
Who was a wealthy man at the time, but had not made many contributions to LSU. And so as part of our getting to know him and to cultivate him to be a donor in the future, we did an oral history. and I spent about something like 6 hours with him and recorded that, and it's on file now. It should be on file at the center.
Yeah.
And he ultimately, over a period of years after that, gave over $20 million to LSU. So the oral history has that legacy.
Yeah.
I think is helping to cultivate future donors.
Right, and getting memories that otherwise would be completely lost without.
Right.
Well, thank you again so much. We really appreciate it.
Sure.